Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are filming our May reading wrap up. I had a pretty good reading month, did you?
Yeah, I did.
I read 4 books and one was a 4-star, the other 3 were 5 stars. That I'm very picky with my ratings and so that's kind of a big thing for me.
I had a really good, I had 3 5 stars and 3 4 stars, so not
That's
bad.
really good.
Yeah, not bad at all.
So I have 4, she has 6, so she's gonna start off.
Okay, so the first one that I read in May was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have been wanting to read some Taylor Jenkins Reid for a while now. Malibu Rising was just the first one that I happened to pick up, even though I have several of hers just sitting around. I really related hard with this one. This one was a story about Nina and her family. Okay, so Nina and her family come from California. They live in Malibu. They love surfing and they've kind of made headlines with it. At least Nina has, and her brothers are kind of up and coming in the surfing world. Nina has made it as more of a model for surfing, even though she really loves surfing. She's done very well for herself in like the modeling world aspect of it. And they also are very well known for a restaurant there as well, like a seafood restaurant that's been in their family for several years. So this was kind of an interesting story because it went back and forth between like the storyline of her parents and how her parents met and like fell in love, and then like today where like it's just her and her siblings. So like the story of how like her family came about and the restaurant and everything, and then
They own the restaurant?
Yeah, or like her grandparents were the ones who created the restaurant, and then like how they got into surfing and the whole world. But it's really at the core, it's really about Nina and her siblings.
Yeah.
It's a story of love and family and determination, and I really related so hard with Nina. I've gone through, like personally have gone through the same struggles that Nina went through. So I was like sobbing really hard at this book at so many different parts. So I loved her writing. It really brought the characters off the page for me. This was one of those reads where I felt like I forgot I was reading. Like I was just really engrossed in this world and forgot I was reading, and I really loved this. This was definitely a 5-star for me.
Hey, I really want to read her stuff too.
Yeah, this one I definitely highly recommend.
I've owned Daisy Jones and the Six for like 2 years.
Same.
I've never picked it up.
Same.
The first one I read, I just want to get it out of the way because I only want to talk so much about like rereads obviously, but I reread Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm doing 1 per month. This one is, and has always been and will continue to be, a 5-star read for me. This one switches out with Prisoner of Azkaban as my favorite. I think maybe as an adult, Prisoner of Azkaban is my top, but for the longest time I said this one was my favorite. It kind of starts off with Harry directly after the Triwizard Tournament from the previous book. It is so irritating for me, especially as an adult, but I remember it being irritating as a child too, to see like the absolute gaslighting that happens to Harry and like the whole trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, because of course at this point they're like, them and Dumbledore are like the only ones that believe that Lord Voldemort has actually returned, and the rest of them are just saying that he's lying. Some people are even saying that he killed Cedric, and so it's just like, it's a whole thing. But I love the scenes with Dumbledore's army. It's like my favorite part of the whole book.
I don't remember a whole lot from this one, so I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah. I would say this one took me the longest to get through as far as my rereads, just because I had the worst time with so many hours of like Umbridge.
I hate Umbridge.
Sometimes I just like needed to put the book down just because I hate her so much as a character. But I think that this has probably the most character development in the entire series, because this is where they really grow up. You know, obviously after the 3rd book, it kind of gradually starts to get darker, but you really start to see them become, instead of like preteens, they are like teenagers, and maybe even too mature to be teenagers because of everything that they've seen and everything that Harry's endured. So I feel like the most character development in this one, but I really liked it. It was great.
I'm really excited to get to that one.
Yeah.
Because that's one that I really don't remember a lot from, to be honest.
And I like that you get a lot more of the backstory of the Hogwarts that Harry's parents and Snape and Lupin and Sirius went to.
Yes.
That with the scenes with the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I really don't. See, I just don't remember all that.
Yeah. It's good.
I don't remember what I did yesterday, guys. So I really need to revisit that. Okay, so the second one that I read was King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the first in a series, which I'm really excited for the second because I gave this one 4 stars. This was like a nice paranormal kind of read. So in King of Battle and Blood, there is one big twist that I really did not see coming. And that really got me because there was part of the book that was pretty slow for me. Like a little past the middle, I started to feel like, okay, where are we going with this? And it was getting a little slow for me. So it took me a little bit longer to read than normal because I felt like it was dragging a bit. And I was just kind of, it was a slow burn for sure. That definitely. And I was just like, come on, all right. Like, can we just have it already, please? And then we finally like got the chemistry, and then there was this crazy turn that I totally did not see happening, and which set it up really well for the second one, I think. So I am excited for the second one, but that's why I gave it the 4 stars, and that's probably the only reason why it didn't get a 5-star from me, was just because it was a little bit slower, and I feel like it dragged out a little bit longer than necessary.
Okay, makes sense. So the next one I read. This is definitely not going to be the first time that anybody's heard about this book. It's very popular. And that's, I think, why I put it off for so long. I tend to like not love the super popular books usually.
Same.
The next one I read was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This was so beautiful. I totally get the hype now. I know that not everybody does. I know you felt a little bit differently about it.
I did, but I mean,
Yeah.
It's a good book. It's a great, it's written very well.
It's so stunning the way that it's written. And I get why some people are a little disappointed by it because there's no, like, you knew the whole time what was going to happen. There was never, I knew how the story of Achilles ended. But like, I felt like the whole time I was like begging for it to not end that way.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Even though I knew exactly what was going to happen, but I was like, please let this be different somehow. I heard this was like supposed to be like it's very based on like Iliad by Homer. I read that in high school. I don't remember caring as much about the story then as I do now.
I think it has a lot to do with the way it's written.
I think it is
100%.
digestible for like pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Homer is definitely not.
Yeah.
It's difficult to read Homer.
And I like that a lot of times people who like retell the story of Achilles, they like really shy away from like the obvious homosexuality between him and how do you say his name? How do you pronounce his name?
Patroclus?
Patroclus?
Patroclus? I think.
Patroclus, however you say his name. But it was just the most beautiful story, and it reminds me a lot of The Kite Runner. Not necessarily the way that the story ended, but just the way that you follow these two characters from childhood and then building their friendship all the way through to adulthood, and you see how they have changed and their relationship has changed. Once again, The Kite Runner, their relationship is definitely something different than it is in this book.
Yeah.
But it is very reminiscent of that for me in the sense that I feel like in 50 years, people are going to be like reading this in high school as like required reading. Like I feel like it's going to be one of those books that are like a classic that people read forever. What do you think?
Should already be.
Yeah, it's
something.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're definitely, if you know anything about Greek mythology, you're not going to be surprised by the ending. I didn't like sob the way that people said that they sobbed at the end because I knew where we were going, but it was still like, I think it has something to do with the way that she wrote it. It was stunning.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Her writing was just amazing. I gave that pretty high. I gave it either 4 or 5 stars.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I rated it very high.
Yeah.
That was my one thing, is like people were always talking about how much they sobbed, and I just didn't sob.
I didn't either. It takes a lot.
I don't know.
It's not often that I cry during a book. It takes kind of a lot.
I wouldn't say that for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I do sob quite a bit during the books, but I think it just depends on the person and the book. I mean, each book affects you differently based on what you've experienced and what you feel. It just,
And also,
each
had
person.
I not known what was, like, how it was going to end.
Yeah, if you have no idea.
Oh my God.
The story.
Yeah.
If you have no idea, you know, like,
their
yeah,
love for each other, their like raw and like at times really innocent love for each other was like palpable through the pages. That it's so rare that happens.
I was gonna say, I can completely see like not knowing anything about that story and
Yeah.
then reading that version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that probably would have just
absolutely
killed me.
destroyed you.
Just absolutely killed
it.
me.
Like it was like one of those things where I was reading it and like my chest like physically hurt because I knew, I was like, it's almost like it was building up and I knew how it was going to end, and so I didn't want all the build up because I knew it was going to like hurt me.
See, you approached it differently than I did.
Yeah.
Whereas I was making smart ass comments.
You're like, don't worry about it, y'all. Here's how your story ends. And I was like, no, please, don't do this to me. It was.
I was using a defense mechanism.
No,
while I was reading it like, no.
Honestly, I think I may have. I didn't think I was gonna like this though, so I kind of went into it thinking that it was gonna be boring.
Okay. So you were really excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was.
Well, that's a good way to go into
easily a
it,
5-star read for me. I loved it.
It's a good way to go into it, though,
Yeah.
I guess. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
The next one I read was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So, I am just really I'm just in love with this world right now. I just want to be there. I just want to be there. It's completely different as an adult.
I know.
It's just so magical.
Yeah.
It's just so magical, and I appreciate new things about it. I really love, I was telling her before we started filming, I really love Ron as a character more in the first like 2 books.
Till after the 4th one that changes.
She did. I
don't dislike Ron. I just find him irritating sometimes.
I am 100% a Slytherin, okay?
Yeah.
Slytherin till the end. But I really dislike Draco Malfoy in these first 2 books. As an adult, I just want to knock him upside the head. I do. He's a little shit. He's just a little shit.
He really is.
So, you know, there's just different, I just love it. All the different classes, and I would just want to be there.
I know.
And listening to Hagrid, and
I love
McGonagall,
the audiobook narrator voices Hagrid. It kills me every time.
Every time, and I just, so I went right into the 3rd one, and I was telling her that I did, so I've been stretching out the 3rd one all month. I didn't finish it because I want to be able to use my Audible credit to buy the 4th one and just go right into the 4th one because I do not want to be without a Harry Potter book right now.
It's true. Yeah.
So definitely 5 stars.
I reread these every single year, and every single year I so enjoy my rereads, and I like find something that I don't remember from them, which is crazy because I've read them so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I think this is definitely going to be one of the rereads that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yearly. I usually do it around the holidays. Because I don't know why, but Harry Potter seems Christmassy to me.
It does. It's because it's magical.
Yeah.
It's just a magical feeling. I love being.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, the 3rd one that I read was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I am shocked that I picked this up this month, and I don't know what possessed me to.
I'm so excited.
I didn't have the most fantastic experience with the first Throne of Glass book, and I only read it, I think it was not last month, but the month before. It was recently, and I said it would be a while, like I would finish the series because I saw that it had potential, but I said that it would be a while before I picked it back up because I was just bored. I'm so glad that I did. This one really picked up for me, which is, I know is controversial. The opinions are kind of mixed. I think the majority of people don't prefer this 2nd book, at least from what I've seen. I love this. So we pick up in this one after obviously the whole battle that Selena went through the first book to become the King's Champion, and now she has won, and you're seeing her with her assignments from the King. I think in my notes for both of them, I put, I find Selena to be kind of a shit. And I say it lovingly.
No, she is a shit.
No, she's not pleasant. And I think that
that is such a perfect description of her. She's a shit.
She is. The one thing I will say is I think a lot of people go into these books looking for like the romantic side of it. Maybe it's because these books have been out for so long and I have seen like spoilers and I know who's coming. So I wish that in the first 2 books, Sarah had not tried to give her a love interest. Because I find them boring. I don't like Hale. I never really have. He was fine in the first book, I guess. I never will. He's not, I just find him dull.
I like Hale.
Do you?
Yeah, he'll grow on you.
Okay.
I think he will.
Okay. I found Dorian so much more interesting in this book because finally he has something to add to his character and to his personality.
I think honestly you're supposed to find Hale that way until a specific part.
Yeah,
he'll grow on.
I just didn't buy her connection with
I mean, maybe he won't. There's a lot of people that don't like Hale. But
okay.
I do like Hale.
I didn't have a super strong opinion of him from the first book, and now I'm just starting to like really not enjoy him. He is very loyal and like sometimes to a fault. Like I just feel like his loyalty is misplaced. And he does a lot of things out of loyalty that I feel like, I was like, but you don't see an issue with that? Maybe a little bit. I liked about this book
maybe that's why I relate.
Right, right. That all of the characters were scheming and they had like their own intentions, and then it all kind of clashes at one point in the book, and something really tragic happens, and it leaves all the characters reeling, especially Selena. And it makes, I think this is where, of course I haven't read the rest of the series, but I feel like this is where her character shifts. It has to be where her character shifts, because I noticed a really true difference in her afterwards. Obviously she's going through like the grieving process and mourning, and she's very depressed, but I finally see her wanting to do something for somebody else. Yeah. And not because it benefits her. Like it's like she is like, I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't read the series, but she finally has intentions to help a group of people that don't involve her.
Yeah, that it's not beneficial to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because once again, she's a shit. She's very selfish. And I love her. She's such a badass, but I do feel that way. Yeah, the last thing I said about it is just that I felt like the tone matured a little bit. Like I just felt like this book felt very different from the first. And I even felt that way about the third one. I feel like this is now going to be a completely different series than the one that I started. And I mean that in a good way, because I didn't love the first book. So
yes. I think you'll feel that even going further.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did give it 4 stars because there were some parts that lagged, and I just felt like I didn't want so much from Kale's point of view, because I don't enjoy hearing about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. Okay. So the next one that I read was Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I gave it 4 stars. It was a really good read. It was interesting. It kept my attention. Sarah Pinborough wrote Behind Her Eyes, which I loved. Mm-hmm. I was really, really obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. That one was, if you remember, I had said that I was ready to almost DNF it. And then, like, some crazy stuff happened, and then it blew me away. That really didn't happen with this one. This one was just kind of like, it kept me going and it kept me interested, and I was following the twists and turns, and then it was good. It was a good read, and it did get me. Like, I didn't figure it all out, but it didn't wow me either. It was just good. It was a good read.
Yeah.
It was about Emma, who her mother had kind of had some mental health issues when she reached the age of 40 and ended up hospitalized, and Emma is approaching the age of 40 and she starts to have some issues, some nightmares and things, and then her sister, who isn't very involved in her life, shows up again, and just things start to go really bizarrely, and she starts to worry that maybe she's losing it or she's being framed to lose it, and she starts having insomnia and things start to go really weirdly, and so she's not really sure whether or not it's her or somebody doing it to her.
How about maybe the sister that just randomly showed back up?
Exactly. Who she's insistent is doing it. So yeah. It's a very twisty turny read, but it was good. It was good. I don't really have anything that kind of stands out to really talk about.
Yeah. Very last one I have to talk about, the one that I just finished this morning, was Air of Fire, the next one, The Throne of Glass. This was a 5-star read for me for so many reasons. First of all, we get so many new characters in this book. So many characters that I can already tell are going to be so involved in the rest of the series are introduced in this book. At the very end of Crown of Midnight, we learned something about Selena that I already knew just because the series has been out for so long and I've heard people talk about it. But it was still kind of interesting. Oh, I'm just holding this up. It was still kind of interesting.
Because it's the star.
Yeah. It was interesting because I didn't know that that was how it was discovered. I guess, figured that she also didn't know it.
Yeah.
But then you learn that she did know it, and she's just, it's weird because I feel like she's been the point of view that we've been reading from so much, and we just didn't know that she knew this.
Ain't that fucked up?
Yeah.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, she's a shit.
She's a shit.
But so many new characters, so many new species and monsters from other realms were introduced in this book. And basically for the first bit, you kind of don't know where she's gonna go in this book because she's kind of like at a crossroads. She's sent to a different land by the king to do something for him, but then she's kind of just like drunk and hanging out on top of buildings for whatever reason.
She's like always doing that.
I know. And then probably about 100 pages in, she comes into contact with somebody who's been mentioned in the previous 2 books, but nobody that we've met before. So she's kind of introduced and she says like, I will tell you what you want to know, but first you need to prove yourself to me. And so she ends up kind of training to, I guess, prove that she has these, I don't know how much I want to say because it's going to spoil it. She ends up training with a new character to pinpoint these powers that she has, that everybody else knows that she has, that she is like refusing to bring out for a multitude of reasons.
Because she's a shit.
Because she's a shit and she just thinks that things are deeper than they are. Like, I get that, you know, magic is banned in the country that you were in, but you're not there anymore. So I need you to get it together because people are depending on you.
Nah.
But in the end, she does get it together. She does realize that people are depending on her, and you find out why people want her to use her power so bad because she is like insanely strong. Also, this felt like it was constantly moving, and I mean constantly moving because it's from so many different point of views. I don't usually like that. It's like literally every chapter is a different person's point of view.
Right.
And it like rotates between like 4 people, 4 or 5 people. It's not usually my cup of tea, but I really felt like it kept the story going. There's a lot of great like action and training sequences. There's a new character introduced that I have been waiting for him to be introduced, and you learn more about his backstory and her backstory and how they come together and how in the future they're going to be integral together. Like, I see where this is going. Thank you. I didn't mention any names. And I'm going to stop before I spoil anymore. This one, like I said, was a 5-star. I cannot wait. I have the 4th one at home.
So the next one that I read was The Love Con by Saressa Glass. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, so sorry if I totally butchered it. I give this one 4 stars. So The Love Con, you've never heard of it, right? Okay, so the premise of this one is really, really cute, and I think you'd really enjoy it. So it is a girl and her best friend are really, really into cosplaying. And they have like a shop where they make like ornate pieces and like custom outfits and everything. And she goes on a game show, like a reality game show, where they have to like compete in like the best cosplay outfits and stuff. And she ends up in like the final round where they have to like go home and make this big like custom piece, you know, like this. It's pretty much like, have you ever watched Project Runway? Yeah. Okay, so that, you know how at the end they have to go home and they like follow them with the cameras and like see their development of the last piece over like the last few weeks or whatever. It's pretty much like that.
Okay.
But they have to do like a partner set, like 2 costumes.
Oh, I see where this is going.
So she fake dates her best friend because one of the judges is like a snob, and she's a plus size girl, and you see where that's going. Like she doesn't think that she has a boyfriend or whatever, so she fake dates her best friend, and of course her best friend actually has feelings for her. So that goes into a whole thing. But
the fake dating trope.
The fake dating trope, which is really cute. I love it too much. It's ridiculous. And so and then there's this whole thing. I'm such a nerd that I loved all of this. They ended up doing Iron Man and Thanos. And it was just
nerd love.
It was just so cute. I loved the entire thing. It was so cute.
Love that.
I just loved all of it. All of the
The whole time
Marvel,
you were like smiling.
all of the Marvel references and everything that was in it, and they were just, I loved it. It's great. It was great. And then the final one, which it's just funny to me because One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. So
we were just talking about this.
This is so funny to me because a year or 2 ago,
Probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we reviewed 5 Years by her.
In 5 years.
In 5 Years by her.
I loved it.
She loved it.
I loved it.
I didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
I think I gave it 2 stars. I really didn't care for it. And this is her new one. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book.
Yeah.
Okay, so Katie's mom, Carol, unfortunately dies from cancer in this book. And her dad are kind of left reeling. Katie's mom was her everything.
She likes to write about death.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody died in the other book that we reviewed.
Wasn't it The Best Friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's kind of left reeling, and unfortunately, like, they just, up until the very last moment that Carol was alive, they were planning big things. Like, they didn't give up. There was supposed to be a mother-daughter trip that they were going to take to Italy, and they kept planning for it, and they kept buying outfits, and they bought the tickets, and they did all this stuff, and Katie's kind of left feeling really lost and not knowing what to do, which I totally fucking get. And she's not even sure she wants to be married anymore either, which is just a whole nother thing. It's just all the life crisis just happening all at once. So she decides she's still gonna go on this trip. She's just gonna take this trip to Italy.
What she needs is an Italian trip.
She's just gonna go. Forget it. She's gonna pack all the stuff that her and her mom bought, and she's gonna go. Which I love. Because absolutely. And I've also decided that if I'm ever going to Italy, that I'm going to go in a lemon dress with a big old sun hat, and I'm going. Okay? It has to happen. I loved the writing in this book so much. The scenery, like the imagery, I felt like I was there. I want to be there. Okay? It needs to happen. But when she gets there, she goes back to this, because her mom spent a summer, maybe a little bit longer, in Italy, and she always described it to her, like where she lived and where she went and where she stayed. So she goes to all these places, and when she gets to the hotel, like right around where they were gonna stay, she's there for like a day or 2, and then she sees her mom.
What do you mean by that?
She sees her mom, but it's not
the dead one.
Yes, the dead one. Not the same age. She sees her mom at age 30. Her mom when she lived in Italy.
Okay. I'm confused as to where this is going.
Somehow,
or something?
no. Somehow she has gone back to 1992.
Oh, so this is time travel.
This is time travel.
Okay.
Somehow we have gone back to 1992, and she is there at the same time that her mom is there. And so I'm going to tell you.
Okay. So all these stories that her mom has told her,
She gets to see.
and she was there for, but she didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does her mom like tell stories of like a friend that she had when she was there?
We don't know that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we get that. But I'm sure. Because she's very important there.
Mm-hmm.
I bawled my eyes out.
Mm-hmm. How was the time travel explained? You know what? I'll read it. Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you that. But it's really, really good. 5 stars. 100% 5 stars. And the writing was fantastic. And I just
loved it.
I loved it.
I said it would be funny if I read this one and I hated it. Because
yeah,
I loved In 5 Years, she hated it. She loved this one.
I kind of feel like now I need to reread In 5 Years.
No, I still think you won't like it.
No?
Yeah.
Probably not. Okay.
Maybe reread it though, and let me know, because I'm curious, because I loved it. You have a lot of issues with it, and they're valid issues, but that's why, because I like books that are, you know, a little messed up.
A little messed up.
Yeah, you know, the whole, you know, dating your dead best friend's husband's a little fucked up, but I was into it.
Oh, you're right. I did have valid issue. Okay, now I remember. Now I remember what the story was. Yes. Okay. You're right. Mm-hmm. I did have some issues with that.
I liked it. I love imperfect characters. Like, is she a bad person? Maybe.
Well, that's what we have for you in May. Comment down below and let us know what you read, and let us know if you liked any of these. Hit that like button and subscribe, and definitely tap that notification bell so you know when we post next. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.